And say hi in the comments tab
Yes, definitely.
so I know who's here.
Well, I'm thinking what we should do is just get started, and hopefully some more
Okay.
people join us. And like I said, most people catch the replay of it, hopefully. So uh, sorry about that, guys. Whoever's been waiting, thank you patiently waiting. If you could smash that like button, that would really help us out. Also, if you have any questions, make sure you put a Q in front of the question that you have, and that'll really help me identify a question. So that'd be great. Welcome, Karyn and Dan, to the channel. It's great to have you here on this live. For the viewers out there, they have an amazing channel, especially if you're familiar with my channel and you haven't seen their channel. They have an amazing channel. They're working to be more self-sufficient as they work towards retirement. They have a lot of useful information on their channel, so make sure you check that out. They're also working on their health journey. Karyn recently started a carnivore lifestyle, and Dan does Ketovore. So that's pretty exciting. Today we're going to talk about what's going on around the homestead, and they're also going to talk about their health journeys as well, and they'll answer some questions for you. Now, if you aren't familiar with me, my name is Greg. I'm from My Weight Loss Life, and I'm from Iowa as well. So all Iowa in the house tonight, gotta like that. And I've been on a weight loss journey since the end of January, and I started by doing a low carb keto lifestyle. And a week and a half ago, I started full carnivore, and I'm on day 11 of that. Overall, I've lost over 90 pounds in just shy of 8 months. So life is good. I can't complain. But enough about me. Let's talk about you guys. Why don't you guys tell us about yourselves and your channel and what you're doing?
Well, we started our channel in 2020 when things were kind of in, I guess, a little bit of an upheaval and a little bit of uncertainty going on. And we thought, we really need to be more self-sufficient. We have an 8-acre acreage, and we have what we need to be self-sufficient, but we needed to hone some skills. We needed to start doing some projects that would, if anything should happen, that we've got our bases covered. And so we've been doing a lot toward becoming self-sufficient toward our retirement. Retirement should be fun and you
Definitely.
should have what you need. But we thought, there's some things we need to do before we actually retire to make sure that we're healthy and we're, going forward the way we want to go forward. Some of the things that we've done so far to become self-sufficient or more self-sufficient and less dependent on other people and stores. One of the first thing we did actually was to make a nice big chicken coop with a double run. And Dan did that all by himself. And
That's
one of the
awesome.
things Dan likes to do is, you want to talk about the materials you use on your projects?
Well, almost every project that I do, I try to use as much used stuff as possible so that you save a lot of money. And repurposing, it's good for the environment and makes you happy in the end, especially when something lasts for many, many years past, whatever someone else disposed of, and works out pretty nice.
It makes a lot of sense. Definitely repurposing is a good thing. And it's amazing what you can repurpose and reuse for something else. That's for sure.
Exactly. I think we have a really nice walk-in chicken coop, and the runs are huge. And I think our total cost on that was out of pocket $800 because everything else we already had here somewhere on our property. So
Nice.
Dan does a lot of salvaging of materials from other places. So then we can, turn around and recycle that into something else. We also got a big solar array. So our electric bill is extremely low. we also had the opportunity to become a tower host for an internet company that was moving in.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's exciting.
Yeah, we only had to give them what is like a 15-foot by 15-foot area. And in exchange for that, they are giving us free high-speed internet. So we don't have an internet bill anymore.
Oh, you can't complain about that. That's very expensive for
No.
some people, I know.
No. And the home, when we bought it, had a wood-burning stove in it, but it was really old and like not safe.
Yeah.
So we updated that. So if we had to heat our home with wood, we could do that. And we have plenty of wood on our property. And then, we've just, been honing our skills. Like, for example, I brushed up on canning different things. And there will probably be some videos coming up on things like pressure canning meat, for example. That sort of thing will be coming up on our channel at some point. How to render beef tallow,
Oh, nice.
those sorts of things. More of your homesteading skills that you would need to be self-sufficient. So
yeah, that's great.
And then as far as me personally, I'm 58. I grew up in Iowa on a farm, not very far from here. And then I left and went to the city after college. I lived down in Texas, in Dallas and in Houston for about 14 years. But when I started having kids, then I wanted to be back here because I like the slower pace of life, the safety, the wide open space. Man, I long for wide open spaces when I was in the crammed city.
I bet.
I really did. So a little bit about me. What about you, Dan?
Well, I'm Dan. I'm 61, originally from Tennessee, and I've been here since '88. And I grew up on a farm also, and most of my life I've worked with my hands, learning how to do stuff, how to create stuff. I manage a small sign shop, and I own and operate a karate school.
Oh, wow. You keep pretty busy.
Oh yeah, I'm highly involved in church, and so yeah, life is busy. But I like working, and we just want to work towards the latter part of our life working for ourselves instead of somebody else.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for sure. So no, that's great. I was going to ask you another question here. Can you tell the viewers about your current projects on the homestead? What do you guys got going on? That maybe what you got going into fall, maybe over the winter? Is there any big projects planned, or what are you working on, I guess?
We do have projects planned, a couple big ones coming up, and hopefully I'm going to get some videos out on that, because I know that we are kind of missing the homesteading element of our channel right now. And so hopefully I'm going to get some time to get some videos of some of our projects. But one of them is with the idea of us eating more meat now. We've sort of changed our focus. This whole way of eating has sort of changed our homesteading plan in some ways. One of those ways is we are now thinking about getting a couple of calves in the spring, because we have a lot of grass on our property. So, Dan, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we got approximately 5 acres of, we've been mowing, and there's some perimeter fence that has been here since we bought the place. It's in pretty bad disrepair and needs to be updated, and want to put in some new fencing so that we can hopefully get one or two just weaned calves in the spring, and then grass feed them until late fall, and then butcher them. And a lot of people have said that they're not going to be very big. But the thought process of taking one through the winter, I mean, you live in Iowa, you know what that's like.
Yeah.
That changes everything. And it also is a lot more investment in both money and time to take an animal through the winter.
Definitely.
And also, I would be able to butcher the animals myself. One of the things as a kid growing up, my grandparents lived across the hill from us, and they had a milk cow and turkeys and chickens. We raised beef stock cattle and would usually kill 1 or 2 hogs, 800 to 1,000 pounds. We butchered our own hogs, but we would send a beef to the locker. And I know I would prefer to do stuff myself as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've got a tractor with loader, and so there's no reason why I can't hang it up and do the butchering myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's pretty awesome to be sufficient like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's pretty cool. I mean that's going to be some savings for you. Let alone you can cut the meat up however you like it.
Right.
Yep, exactly. And the other project that I wanted to mention was we are currently tossing around some ideas for an additional side business. So my side business right now is the YouTube thing. Dan has the karate school. Then we both work full time, and then we would add another side business that would help us to pay off our acreage. And when we get our acreage paid off, then we can go down to more of like a part-time situation where we can spend more time doing some of the things that we need to do around our place.
Yeah,
So,
looks like Ian has a
Mhm.
question there for you.
Yeah. Are you still going to build a greenhouse? So we had planned on building onto our house a passive solar greenhouse so that we could raise food or grow food year round, even in the winter time, growing some of the more cold weather vegetables and things like that. So this whole way of eating has sort of turned a lot of things upside down. But my thought is, when I've lost the weight that I want to lose, then I'm probably going to go into more of a ketovore kind of lifestyle. And so at that time, then we will grow some of probably the cruciferous vegetables like the cabbage and broccoli, Brussels sprouts, those kind of things. And so there may still be a need for our passive solar greenhouse. We are just having to push it back a little bit now, Ian, because we have other things taking precedence right now. Mainly, number one, the raising the calves. We've got to get fencing in and all that kind of stuff. And then number two, we need to get our side business going. And that involves renovating what we called the party room, which is off of our existing garage, but not attached to the house. It's just a really big, nice room. We were going to make that into like a workshop/studio for whatever we decide our side business is. So, but there should be some videos coming up on renovating that also once we decide what exactly it is that we're doing.
No, that's exciting.
So the answer is probably.
Well, I want to add something to that on the greenhouse. One of the thought processes was, even before we made this drastic change in our priorities, was that the greenhouse could also be a source of income by growing something that may be exotic or, you know, very profitable, something that we could make some money, not just for food.
Yeah, I've even thought about growing herbs and plants that you can make teas out of, that kind of thing, like herbal teas, you know. So we still have a thought process going on about how we could do the passive solar greenhouse.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as this question's kind of similar, but what are some of the goals for the homestead going forward? I know we mentioned some of the projects already a little bit, but what kind of goals do you have? What more other goals do you guys have? Sounds like you got a few things going on, but.
Well, yeah, one of them is going to be, we want to build a 3-car garage onto the house. Currently, we don't have an attached garage. When we first moved here, the garage that we do have became the store-all, and it needs to be.
It really does store all.
It needs to be totally cleaned out and reorganized. But just the process of that can, sometimes has to go to the side while you do something else. But that's a big project, and little small projects like I want to build a chicken plucker, and I want to build a dehydrator. We've got an old metal, really, really old refrigerator that I want to turn into a dehydrator. And now that we're in more to the meat, I think that'd be really, really good. I love beef jerky.
Yeah.
And then at one time, we were also talking about getting meat rabbits and housing them in our chicken runs, because the rabbit poop is very beneficial for the chickens as well. So that kind of thing. So down the road, I would say we'll probably add another type of meat, but we're doing pretty good with the chicken and the beef if we get some beef. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome for sure. I guess I kind of want to shift gears a little bit, unless is there anything else about the homestead that you'd like to talk about right now?
No.
I think that's pretty much it for our update there.
All right. Well, we're going to shift gears a little bit, everybody. We're going to talk about let's talk about your health journeys a little bit. And I just want to remind the viewers out there, if you've not subscribed to either of our channels yet, to make sure you do that and give us a big thumbs up. That'll kind of push the live out to more audience on YouTube. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I just want to get into this next question here. What made you decide to do a carnivore keto lifestyle? Diet. I don't like to call it diet.
I know.
But
it's more of kind of a way of life.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, me in particular, but really it affected both of us, kind of got a little wake-up call in April. In April, I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer, and it involved having to get a radical hysterectomy.
Oh, wow.
With an oophorectomy as well, which means the ovaries, the uterus, and the cervix had to be removed. Now, it was in the earliest stage and grade possible. So it was still all enclosed within the uterus. So they were able to get it all. So I'm technically cancer-free right now. I've got to go. Yes. I've got to go like every 6 months to get checked. But one of the things the surgeons said was that this cancer is more common in obese and overweight women because your fat cells produce estrogen. And the extra estrogen is what actually promotes the growth of this cancer. So that really kind of hit me hard. And I thought, I need to do something. I didn't know what, because yo-yo dieter, I mean, that's me. I'm up and down and up and down and up and down, trying. So anyway, I had tried intermittent fasting before. I had also tried keto before. And so I thought, well, I did pretty good on each one of those individually. What if I combined them? So I went looking for how I was going to do that. And I saw the word Ketovore, which I didn't know what that was. And then I found out it was a combination of keto and carnivore. So then I started digging into carnivore, which I had heard of a couple years ago, but I thought it was nuts. And I didn't even, look into it any further than just knowing that you just eat meat, But then the more I got into it, the more I thought, you know what? This is going to reset my whole body. I'm going to likely get rid of a lot of problems that I've had, things that have been dogging me for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get healthier. And it's, just something I thought I really felt compelled to do. And then to tip me over the edge was I watched a movie called Fat Fiction. If you've not seen Fat Fiction,
I haven't.
You need to go and watch it, because it talks about all of the things that have happened over many, many decades that have led America to where it is now, which is only getting fatter and sicker,
Mhm.
and why that's happened, and all of the deception that's been going on with the government and the food companies and all all of the literal, I mean, I'm getting angry just talking about it right now, about all of this stuff that's been going on, where people, all of those times I've been on those different diets thinking that I'm doing the right thing,
Right.
thinking that this is, this is what they're saying, that this is how I'm healthy, how I become healthy. And the whole entire time it was working against me. And then I blamed myself.
Mhm.
I blamed myself for failing when I was fed wrong information. It's really upsetting that I grew up for decades um, thinking the wrong things and doing the wrong things, especially the fat-free thing. That just really gets me now. I was fat-free for a long time thinking I was getting healthy.
Right.
Ah, so
They did a sell
frustrating.
job on all of us, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And the more you get into learning about the proper human diet and the way we should be eating, the more you realize how everything, even the food pyramid, should be turned upside down. I I heard a saying that someone said we've been brainwashed, and that's really true.
Yeah.
But so that's what got me going.
Yeah.
Well, due to the fact that, we're a team and I'm her number one fan and soulmate, I want to do everything I possibly can to support her. And, I will have to admit that I'm not on the carnivore lifestyle um, as much as she is, but even the Ketovore has made a big difference in my life too. And the education that we've been getting watching YouTube videos and learning about a lot of the lies that make both of us angry or upset. I'm not going to say angry, upset that we've been led to believe things that we shouldn't have been believing.
Yeah.
And luckily, we're at a stage in our life where we're able to make a change and see the benefits of those changes.
Yeah, definitely. I'm right there with you guys. I mean, I see the same things, and yeah, it's
Right.
kind
I
of
was going to say that, you 90 pounds.
Yeah, I'm down 90 pounds in almost 8 months, or I'm over 80 pounds, or over 90 pounds now. But almost 85 of that was done on basically keto, low carb, Ketovore is what I like to say, because
Yeah.
there's days
Yeah.
where I was doing carnivore concept. And then I do eat a salad the next day, type of thing. But yeah, so I mean, they all work. They all work. I mean, I have friends that do just low carb, and heck, him and his wife have lost over 80 pounds too. So I mean, and let's face it, all those diets are low carb for sure. It's just some are lower than others, and then people sometimes get hung up on the differences. But to be honest, they're all low, very low, low carb diets. So, but definitely, yeah. Yeah, they work.
Yep.
So, getting to the next question here. How has your health journey gone since changing the way you eat? I think, Karen, I heard the other day, aren't you like 50 some days into carnivore?
This is actually day 77.
Oh, it's 77.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
it's
I'm behind
77.
the times.
You need
That's
to watch a
awesome.
couple more videos.
I guess I was looking at an old one, evidently.
But yeah, so I went cold turkey. I just dropped everything and went cold turkey because I already knew what it was like to do intermittent fasting. I already still didn't snack, because every time you try something, you learn things and certain parts of it stick with you. So I already wasn't snacking really. And I had some experience with keto also. And so I knew about, making sure you had your electrolytes and that kind of stuff. And so I just went cold turkey and just started carnivore. But I'm like a turtle. I'm slow and steady. I'm a bit jealous of the people who just, immediately drop, 20 pounds or something like that. Well, that's not
Right.
me.
Yeah.
I think I lost 9 pounds my first week, which of course is mostly water weight. But then I've just been kind of slow and steady since then. But one thing I've noticed that is a side effect of doing this is our grocery bill is going down. And I mean, by a lot, because what I'm doing is, and I'm going to share this on my channel, but I'm comparing last year to this year. So July this year to July last year, August this year to August last year. And so I've been on it since the first week of July. We've already saved about $400 over what we had spent last year. Now, the true test will be at the end of the year. What is our yearly total versus our yearly total from last year? And just see, what the difference is. But $400, that's not chump change.
No, that's great. That's a weekend away.
Yes.
So one of the things that, from like she was talking about the yo-yo diets, we looked at the intermittent fasting before, and I'd like to mention that, that opened our eyes to a lot of things, and especially me. I was diagnosed with hypoglycemia when I was a teenager, and had always been in fear of going anywhere without some food with me. And, having low blood sugar, it was scary. There was times when I'd get dizzy and so forth. Well, after experimenting with the intermittent fasting, I found out that I literally wasn't hypoglycemic. I was highly affected by highly processed foods, and kind of got a correlation to what I was eating and what it was doing to me. Made a big difference and took a lot of pressure off. And, also it was the first time I'd ever, went on a 24-hour fast. I mean, that was a big deal for me. Since the Ketovore, I've lost about 15 pounds, a tremendous amount of difference in, I'd been having some aches and pains that was starting to creep up on me, 61 years old. Everybody was saying I was wore out. And I knew that wasn't the case. And so I've been having a lot less pain, been able to sleep better at night. My energy level most of the time is a lot better. We recently quit drinking caffeinated coffee. I thought that would probably kill me, but I'm here.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and also a clearer mind. One of the things that has kind of become clearer to us is that a lot of the the sugar and the oxalates that we've been learning about have a tendency to basically give you brain fog. And that's been eye-opening.
Yeah, definitely. Did you guys notice anything different with like your skin and hair or any of that by changing the way you eat?
Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and go over the results I've been seeing too. But so I've lost about 24 pounds. I've lost about 10 inches. I take my chest, waist, and hip measurement every 30 days. And at my 60-day mark, I was 10 inches lost from those 3 areas together.
That's awesome.
I've got a huge energy boost, not nearly as tired as I was before. Brain fog is gone, mental clarity. My mood is lifted. I'm happier. I'm not thinking about what am I going to cook for dinner, because I already know what's for dinner. It's meat.
Right.
Where's the beef?
Right. Yeah. And you're just not thinking about what am I going to do? What am I going to do to fix my weight problem all the time? That's that's lifted. There's none of that there. And so I'm happier. I'm walking better. I still have some inflammation, but it's way better than it was before. My blood pressure is down. My skin looks healthier. I used to have joint pain like 24/7, like even in my fingers, even in my finger joints. When I'd wake up in the morning, I could still feel that there was joint pain there, and I literally don't have any joint pain right now except for my hip, which has a bone spur on it. But we've also seen some things happen with people that have bone spurs too, that they're gone after a while, being on this way of eating. So hopefully that'll happen to me. And then I have degenerative disc in my lower back.
Okay, I do
And
too.
literally it's almost non-existent as far as pain is concerned. And
That's good. That makes me
mobility,
feel good.
I can, my back is a lot more
I hope that
mobile.
works for me too.
Yeah. I'm
far,
sure
so
it
good,
will.
though. So
Well, I think it's important too, Greg. How about yourself? How have you seen changes?
just from doing, the keto low carb, definitely. I mean, my energy levels are better, my skin, my hair. I do have more energy. And now that I'm on carnivore, I would noticed at least a 50% reduction in arthritis pain. Because I have it in the back, the knees, the hips, the ankles. But, I noticed my joints they're kind of stiff, but there's no pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping the longer I'm on this, the better it gets. And I like what you said about bone spurs, because I know I have bone spurs on my spine. So I'm hoping that maybe those will get a little bit better too.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that, after being on the plan for a while, that it'll really help me out. So I like what you're having to say. So for sure. I was going to say, it looks like if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put a Q in front of it and go ahead and ask away here. We'll take any questions you have. Make sure you hit the like button on the live. That'll help push it out there as well. Just a nice reminder there. What for you guys has been the hardest thing about doing carnivore or ketovore? What's been the hardest thing with that? Is there anything that you really miss, or anything that you found was very difficult?
So I had a short absence from YouTube. Well, not really very short. I mean, it involved some months, but during that time, the reason was because I'd started a side business. Mm-hmm. And I sold specialty jams and also freeze-dried candy. Mm-hmm. And so since going carnivore is not really in my best interest, I've cut out processed sugar, and I really don't want to be a dealer for other people either. Yeah. So I stopped my side business, and it was making some money. And so that's another reason that we're looking to get another side business. But I had to give that up, and it was kind of just getting to where I wanted to see what I could do with it and really get it rolling. And then I had to give it up, or I felt like I had to give it up. But other than that, lattes, I really want a sugary chocolate something latte, that's still anything coffee. I really, really like. But then also the convenience of the cafeteria at work.
Oh, sure.
Not having to take a lunch or just fast all day long. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of a convenience thing for me that I miss having that convenience. But other than that, honestly, I did have some pretty wild cravings for a couple of weeks, because when you're addicted to anything, you crave whatever that is for a while. And so I did crave some of the processed foods and some of the sugary things for a while, but now I'm finding it doesn't bother me one bit. I smelled fresh baking cookies a couple days ago at work, and I was like, oh, that smells good, but I don't need it. It was just like, whatever, it smells good, but whatever, Whereas before, the first week or two, maybe I was just like going, oh man, should I get one of those cookies? No, Karen, you can't have one. Just this fight going on in my head, but that's gone. So, yeah.
For me, there's a lot of the various types of foods that I've always loved, grown up loving, that I miss. But at the same time, when you look at what they do to you, it's like we were talking earlier, when it's in your mouth, it tastes good. And for however long you're consuming that's good. But then after that, it's not.
Yeah.
And not consuming those, you feel better for a lot longer than you do. It kind of reminds me, and I'm not good on book, chapter, and verse, but in the Bible it talks about an individual took a book and it was sweet in his mouth, but it was bitter in his belly. And I kind of relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the hardest things for me is when I see people that could benefit from this better lifestyle, and they're going through lots of physical problems, and I see an answer for those, but they're not willing to change.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It kind of goes to that saying that it's hard to make the blind see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It can be that way.
I work in a hospital, so I see every day patients who could use this way of life, but you also don't want to be pushy. You don't want to, because chances are if you're pushy, they're not even going to give you a listen at all,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to help people by example. Like I want to get to the point where I've lost enough weight that people are like, hey, you what are you doing? Because that's the first thing you always ask somebody when you see that they've lost a lot of weight. How are you doing that?
Yeah.
So I want to get to that point. And then I can, even if you just say, you don't have to say carnivore, because it's kind of like the word fasting used to be.
Right.
Like if you told somebody you were fasting, they thought you were completely insane right from the very beginning. Like you need food, you need to eat, Now it's become more of a mainstream word. Now, if you say carnivore, they still think you're a little crazy. But if you said a 0 carb diet, that would be a whole lot different in their mind. So just kind of easing people into the concept, I think, after I lose some weight so that it's noticeable.
One of the other things that's kind of hard for me is when you start looking at the contents on things, the ingredients and all of the secret words for sugar.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. I actually have printed off a list so I could do a video on that sometime about all the different words there are for processed sugar and what they can get away with by saying natural flavorings, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Definitely. The sad thing is we went to the store last night. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Aldi, but my wife and I went there, and when you go to the stores now, you look at things so much different. I mean, you walk by 90% of the stuff, and then I walk by the one aisle and I see a pallet of sugar and a pallet of flour, and I actually took a picture of it because it's like, to me, this stuff is just poison.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they have the most of? That. And do you know how cheap it is? That. And it's like, oh, something's wrong here.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I can't remember what the numbers were, but I saw somebody on television talking about the amount of sugar we ate decades ago before the processed sugar took over everything, and is literally in, processed sugar is in, the World Health Organization did a study, and they took a look at over 40,000 packaged food products, and they were looking to see how many of them had sugar contained in them. What percentage do you think, Greg, had sugar?
Oh, it was a lot, I bet. I don't.
77%.
Oh, geez, that's a lot.
77% had some form of sugar in them. So
look here what Ian says. 33%.
Mm-hmm.
1 in
That's
3
an
adults are
epidemic.
overweight.
Now, Ian, am I right in saying that you're in the UK? Is that correct?
I bet you America, it's 1 and 2. I wouldn't be
Oh,
surprised.
I think it's more like, half or
Yeah,
60% or something like
I would
that.
say probably that would
Yeah.
be right.
So yeah, we have a lot of things that we've been thinking and learning about, and hopefully we'll get a chance to share on our channel.
Yeah, looks like Ian answered here. New Zealand.
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning in, Ian. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, one of the atrocities is when you look at other countries that have adopted the standard American diet and what it has done to the overall health in general of that country
Mm-hmm.
or set of people.
Yeah.
And
I hear stories or see stories of people that have come to live here from other countries, and they end up gaining a lot of weight. Well, not a lot, some of them, but gaining weight. They're not as fit, they're not as healthy if they subscribe to the standard American diet that's being pushed over here. And it's really sad. Standard American diet, sad.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Really is. I was watching a guy the other day. He had I'm trying to think what he was saying now. Basically, he's from the United States and he's in a different country, and he's actually able to eat gluten products overseas at the other country because they don't have all the pesticides and stuff in the. Mm-hmm. So he has no reaction over there. He's not gluten intolerant over there, but here he is. So.
Literally here, unless you are growing it yourself in soil that's not had anything else grown on it, and even then, there's overspray from the fields of the pesticides. So literally, you can't guarantee that you're getting something that's toxin free when you go and buy things from the store, even if it says organic, because the government has even messed up that word, because there's levels of organic now,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just crazy how industries have been able to manipulate the system to put bad things where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the politicians allow it, because
absolutely,
the industry's greasing their palms.
Yeah. I mean, our food pyramid was put out by the USDA, the Department of Agriculture. What do you think they're going to promote? Right. Agriculture, grains. And what's the biggest part of the food pyramid they came out with? Yeah, eat, 6 servings of grains a day, Yeah,
that's just crazy.
The manipulation is off the chart. And I think I'm glad to see more and more movies and shows coming out that talk about the manipulation part of it, because I think the more it gets out there, the more people are going to realize what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people also take the time to dig into something like that. But the more in your face it is, the more people will be seeing it.
Definitely. I got another question here for you. If anybody else has any questions, go ahead and put a Q in front of it and send it in. We'll be happy to answer any questions as best we're able.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you guys, what other channels do you guys both watch and really enjoy on YouTube?
Well, there's ones that have already reached their goal and reaped the benefits of the carnivore diet. So like Dr. Berry, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Sean O'Mara, Dr. Elizabeth Bright. she focuses more on like women and carnivore. Steak and Butter Gal, the 5-Minute Body with Rena, Homestead How. We really like that channel. Well, I really like that channel. Dan doesn't watch so much of the carnivore stuff. He's not as
I like the how-to videos, archaeology type stuff,
history stuff, and
yeah, that's the kind of stuff that intrigues me. And you know, we have a little different mindset about some things, but we enjoy some of the same stuff too.
And then, of course, there's the ones who are still on the journey of losing weight and getting healthy. And, you know, I like to watch those too, like your channel, Greg. And then there's probably 5 or 6 others that I every now and then will go and just check in, see what's going on with them and stuff. It's nice to see that other people are on the same journey that you are.
Yeah. Yep. That's the thing. It's a real, I don't know. It's kind of like a family and a community that you can definitely, you realize other people are going through some of the same stuff you are, and yet the people will support you and cheer you on, and you learn a lot. I mean, that's, you know, Dan was talking about the how-tos. It's like, there's so many things I've learned how to do by watching some videos on YouTube, you know, and that's been really nice. And, you know, that's how I discovered carnivore too. You know, I did my low carb keto for a while, and then I seen Shaun White's story, you know, intentional carnivore, and you know, when he lost 243 pounds in a year, it caught my attention. It's like, what diet's that? You know, so you learn from other people and see what they're doing, and obviously you discover a lot of things and stuff that you thought was truth before and realize now that it's not. After seeing other people talk about some things. So it's pretty amazing to see that.
When the truth comes out.
Yep. It always comes out. Yep. Sooner or later it comes out. That's for sure. Here's another one for you guys. What would you say to someone who's thinking about maybe starting a weight loss journey? What advice could you give them that would maybe help them or benefit them or help them decide?
Well, the first thing that I would say is whatever path you take some pictures and take some measurements when you start, because there's going to be a time when the scale says you didn't lose any weight. And it may be that for weeks, even months. But if you take your measurements and you have your pictures, all you got to do is compare or measure, and you can tell that you've lost. You know, a lot about the carnivore diet is you gain muscle because of eating, you know, you're eating a lot of protein and you lose fat. So sometimes that kind of balances each other out, and the scale says you didn't lose anything when really you're losing inches. So go by the way your clothes feel. That's my first and biggest, because I know when I was yo-yo dieting every other time, that's what would kick me off the diet. I would hit a stall and it wasn't doing anything. And then you're like, well, I might as well just eat how I was before because it's not working, you know?
Right.
So that would be my main thing. And then if you're going to start carnivore, I would say start with a ketogenic diet first, then go ketovore, and then go to carnivore. Do it, you know, in succession like that, because otherwise you could really have some, if you're not used to keto at all and you've never done it before, if you're coming from the standard American diet, you're going to really feel like poo for, you know, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Unless you gradually work yourself into it. But that would be
I'm with you on that. That was what I kind of said on my channel the other day. It's like, if I, you know, are you going to start one of these plans, I would definitely start low carb, work your way to, you know, keto, maybe up to carnivore, if that's what you choose to do. It really depends on how much weight a person wants to lose. You know, in my case, I mean, I'm doing carnivore now because I was kind of stuck, and I'm like, well, I want to give it a try for a while and see what it does to my arthritis. And you know, at some point though, when I get to goal weight, will I add some stuff back in? Yeah, I think so. I'll
Mm.
probably be more ketovore, just because I don't want to. It depends, on the arthritis part of it. Because if I have to maintain a carnivore diet to not have the arthritis pain, then it's probably worth it. But
Mhm.
I hope to eat a salad or broccoli or add some of that stuff back in down the road.
And the nice thing is, after being on carnivore, because it is a diet that is an elimination type of diet, whenever you do add in something like a salad or something like that, you're going to be able to see exactly how that's affecting your body. And
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't affect you so much. And so every now and then you can have a salad, I mean, so everybody is so different. That's another
Mhm.
thing I've learned. There isn't any cookie cutter way for people to lose weight, even on the same diet.
Yeah.
There's so many factors involved and differences.
Well, I'd
So-
like to say hey to Brad, and I also agree with the YouTube University, YouTube College,
Yeah.
learning more. Now, I will also say that there's a lot of hooey out there too.
Yeah.
So
There is.
you have to be discernitive about what
Mm.
you're seeing. And then also, Ian asked what age I'd like to retire tomorrow, but I don't have the money to, so I'm gonna, I owe, so off to work I go.
Yeah.
So
Maybe next
guys,
week, right?
Yeah, if you guys want to fund me, that would be fine. But my advice to someone starting on the carnivore or ketovore journey as a weight loss, I would say do it as a betterment of your health first, and let the weight loss be the icing on the proverbial cake.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Because if you're after it for the weight loss and that's your focus, then you may not see that the real purpose is for better health.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anytime I've gone into something just for weight loss, it's always been thought of as a temporary situation. Like, I'll do this, and then when I get the weight off, then I'll, eat however I want to again. And, that's just a recipe for disaster. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I like the term lifestyle change instead of diet, because to me, diets are always temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lifestyle, it's like permanent. It's going to keep going, and there's no, not a lot of big changes. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the word DIE in diet.
Yeah, true.
But I want to say, Brad, we both have family in Florida. So, hey to you watching from Florida.
Yep. Thanks, Brad. I actually know Brad. He's from Iowa too, but I know he's traveling for work. So,
Oh, okay.
yep, he's down there. It's nice. Thanks for tuning in, though, and that goes for anybody else that's tuning in. If anybody out there has any questions, now is a good time to ask. We'll get you on here and hopefully answer any questions, whether it be homesteading, whether it be carnivore, low carb, keto diets, whatever you got, send them our way. It's been really nice talking to you guys and get to know you a little bit. I apologize to anybody that was on early on and we had some technical difficulties, but we got the show going, and hopefully you're enjoying the content. And just remember, you can always go back and rewatch it, skip the first couple minutes of the live stream, it's recorded. That way you can catch what we talked about too. So I just wanted to put that out there to everybody.
Yeah, and it's actually a completely different show link. So I don't know if some of my viewers maybe got lost in the process. I'm not sure, but
yeah, it could be. We may just have to do another one down the road here. Sometimes I like to do follow-up ones too, so we can put something together, I'm sure, here. So do you guys have any questions for me at all? Since
well, I do have a couple of questions for you. So
you bet.
First of all, how old are you?
I'm 51 years old.
Okay. So you're kind of from the same time frame that we are.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
And then when you started this journey, would you mind sharing how much you weighed?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I was at the doctor's office, it was a couple months ago. Now, I remember one time going to the doctor's office and I was very heavy. And I asked him the other day or a couple months ago, I said, I know what my heaviest was. When was that? He said in 2018, I was 403 pounds. But I know when I started, I was 389.2. And right now I'm at 298 even. So
Nice.
yep. So since January, I've taken off that kind of weight. It feels pretty good. I can't complain, and it really hasn't been that hard. I mean, it's just changing what you eat because I don't think people realize you don't have to kill yourself in the gym to lose the weight. I had a lot of problems. My arthritis was so bad, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but like back in September, I walked away from my job because I had so much pain. I couldn't take it anymore. At night, I couldn't even walk. And then, I just kind of sat around the house after that, didn't know what I was going to do, didn't know if I was going to go for disability or what I was going to do. And my wife, lo and behold, in December, my wife's not heavy. I didn't think she needed to lose any weight. And she was doing fasting where she would just eat supper and that's it. She would eat whatever she wanted at supper. Well, come January, I look at her, the first part of January, she's down 15 pounds. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the one that needs to lose weight. So then I got to looking and I thought, well, what made sense? I can't be physically active because I just couldn't. I mean, it was one of those things. And I decided that low carb, first I thought in my mind, low carb, keto, I'll start there. And then, I was doing all the net carb, the tortillas and all this other stuff. And, made a lot of recipes, had a lot of great food. And, it worked. I mean, early on, I think in 2 months, I lost like 35 pounds. And, but as I went along, I had to tighten down what I ate because I wasn't losing weight. And I realized like some of those net carb tortillas there was some oil in them that's not real healthy. You kind of learn as you go and realize, some of this stuff's not real good for me. So that's what I ended up doing. And I got another comment here. Hello from Mexico.
Yeah.
Hi.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, it was one of those things that, I just kept going, doing keto, pretty much keeping under 20 grams of carbs. And then, I started probably doing more Ketovore where I do carnivore one day and the next day I'd do keto where I'd have a taco salad, but yet I'd still have meat at supper or broccoli, but now I've just decided, well, I'm just going to do carnivore for a while and see how it goes. And so far, so good. We'll see what happens. But it's been going well. And it was nice to get in the 200 club again. I was in the 300 club for 12 to 13 years. And before that, I think I'd lost like 80 pounds once before, but it was all 1,300 calories a day and working out 4 times a week at the Y. Then I was 38 years old. I was younger and could do that. And, but wasn't less than a year. And I started gaining weight. And then a few years later, I'm back up to where I was. So, I'm kind of back down to where I was. And now I'm just going to keep going down. So, yeah.
Yeah. The other amazing thing about being on this way of eating is you don't have to count anything. You mentioned 1,300 calories. You don't have to count anything. You eat until you're full. You're not hungry. You're not going hungry on this diet. You eat until you're comfortably stuffed. Then you don't eat until the next meal or until you're hungry. And you eat until you're comfortably stuffed. And then you don't eat. I mean, it's such a simple concept. And you're not hungry. On other diets, I was always hungry. You're always looking, of course you have to eat, 5 times a day and plan for snacks if you're on some of these other diets because
all that sugar and flour just makes you hungrier.
You're always hungry. Yeah. And our bodies are governed by our hormones. And so you've got ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. And then you've got leptin, which tells you when to stop eating. Well, if you're eating a lot of processed foods and you're eating processed sugar, that messes with both of those hormones. So if you're eating processed sugar, your ghrelin just keeps saying, you're hungry, you're hungry, you're hungry. And then your leptin can't get the signal down that you're full. So you just keep eating, So, so
One of the things that was kind of an eye-opener for myself was the effects that today's wheat has as basically blocking the ability for your body to use the nutrients that you eat. So you can take all these supplements and eat all this other healthy food and that otherwise would be good for you, but it does nothing for you because you're basically building a dam to prevent that from actually being used. And that was a real eye opener.
Mm-hmm. And also talking about the food today, the carrots that we eat today were not the carrots that they had decades ago when the soil was rich and untarnished. They weren't hindered by constantly coming up with hybrids and the GMO foods and all that kind of stuff. So what you're eating in the grocery store now is a shadow of what it used to be.
Yeah.
So when I was watching a video and someone said, when you go on the government website and they say there's this amount of iodine in broccoli, for example, well, they're going by what's been on there since the 50s or whatever about how much nutrients are in broccoli. If you actually looked at it today, it would be a little bit different as far as the nutritional values too. So things are just a lot different today.
Yeah.
So Brad on here is saying that changing from cereal to eggs for breakfast has helped him significantly. So the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, that's one of the things that's actually made it a little bit more appealing even to me. And
There you go.
yeah, plug it, honey. But having chickens, that's been a big plus for us. And yeah, when I look back so as a kid growing up, I did not eat cereal until I went to high school. My mom always made biscuits and gravy, and she had eggs and sausage or eggs and bacon until I went to high school. And then I got introduced to cereal, and thank God I've grown up since then.
I love Lucia's comment, eat to live and not live to eat.
Yep, exactly.
Well, I think also it should be good to love to eat, but to be healthy about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, our society has so many things revolving around food. Every celebration, a county fair here. What do people go to the county fair for? One of the main reasons is to eat all the greasy food from the food trucks and things like that. Deep fried
Snickers and Twinkies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, crazy stuff. Chocolate covered bacon, I mean, they go for the food, and all of our celebrations revolve around food. And like, when you want to go out and you're our age, you're not going to a bar, you're going to a restaurant to eat food with somebody, or something like that. So, yeah. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that we need to find some other ways to celebrate things.
Yeah.
Celebrate a better life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think part of that is, I think back in the day when I was a kid and my parents, and, back then the family events were huge, and usually, everybody ate pretty well, and it was like, but then it turned into every night's got to be that way for people. And it's like, well, it didn't have to be. It's just times changed, and, people really, I don't know, they just kind of embraced it. And the eating out thing, all the commercials and everything that's thrown at us,
Yep. Yeah, what used to be Lucia, love me a cow.
Yeah.
Me too. But yeah, it used to be those special meals. Like I remember when I was growing up, we only had a big roast and carrots and potatoes on Sundays. That was our nice big meal of the week. The other meals were, smaller,
Yeah.
the easier things to fix, that kind of
Yep.
thing for during the week. But now you see people having that kind of stuff every night.
Yeah.
So there's a question from Brad.
Yeah. He's asking for a meal plan, and sorry if he discussed. He must have came in a little late. So
No, that's okay.
That's all right, Brad.
No, I don't really meal plan right now. And I'm finding it really hard to come up with recipes because there's
for
only like
carnivore,
2
it is.
ingredients that you can use. So I basically know what meat I have, and then I'll defrost it in the microwave and make it, or I'll start it in the crock pot in the morning. I basically go by whatever I'm hungry for. So no, I don't do meal plan, but I know people that do, and I know it's very effective for them. Especially if you have a family. Some people will take like a Sunday and they'll get all of their meals together for the week because they have children that are in activities and need things to eat, or maybe not on carnivore or whatever. But with just Dan and I, and doing carnivore, we don't really do much meal planning.
Well, and see, another part of the benefits that we've also noticed is, a tremendous amount of savings on how much money we're spending. We're not eating out a lot, and we're intermittent fasting, even just because, for example, we've quit eating breakfast. We have breakfast a lot of times for lunch if we're home on the weekends, and so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, all I have is lunch. And then other times, it's lunch and supper for me. And a lot of times for Karyn, it's only one meal a day. And so the intermittent fasting is kind of a side benefit of what we're doing just because of our lifestyle.
Right.
And when you're not buying all that other junk in the store, all of the treats and the sodas and the packaged foods and the convenience foods and the pastas and the sauces and all of that, like I said earlier, we've saved about $400 in the span of 2 months on our grocery bill just from not buying junk.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
definitely.
I want to give a little plug out to Hardee's. Tonight I brought home supper. Literally, we got patties. Happen to know the manager, and we've been to some other restaurants that are carnivore friendly, and you can buy just the patties for a reasonable price, and that was really nice.
Lucia, you're making me crack up. You're just so funny.
Piece of cow.
Piece of cow. That's the meal plan.
That might be the new T-shirt.
Yep.
That is a good
meal
idea
plan.
for a t-shirt.
Piece of cow.
Can we rob that, Lucia?
I will say this: when I was doing keto and low carb, meal planning was essential. It was a huge part of what we did, and we just did 7 days at a time. They weren't always in the same order because we'd move things around. But when you're eating different foods, we'd make pizza out of chicken crust. And that was considered a low carb, so we do stuff like that. So, if you're on one of those plans, I do believe meal planning is essential because you don't want to get tired of different foods. You want to make sure you're tracking what you're eating and staying on task. I think it's essential if you're doing that. I mean, carnivore, I can see why. It's like, yeah, we got meat in the freezer too. And just like tonight, I had 2 8-ounce New York strips for supper with butter. And those were really good. And my wife had one, and then it's like, well, what are we eating tomorrow night? And I'm looking, I'm like, well, we'll have pork chops tomorrow night. So, because you've seen them in
Mhm.
the top of the freezer. So makes it pretty easy. Plus we mix it up that way, you don't get tired of eating steak, heaven forbid.
Yeah, so far I have not gotten tired of eating meat. I don't know that I ever will because I've always really, really liked a good steak, and I've really, really liked beef. But yeah, I have thought about trying some different recipes. I've actually done a couple. I think I've mentioned them on the channel. I've done a couple things that sort of mimic what you used to eat, like
Mhm.
pizza and all that. But honestly, I got to tell you, I'm afraid to do that because it just reminds you of what you used to eat. And
Sure.
even now, just thinking about pizza, I can taste pizza in my mouth,
Oh, sure.
of how I used to have
Yeah.
pizza. And so I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I think probably every now and then it's not a big deal.
We'd
But
love for you to share your recipes with us, though.
yeah, give us your chicken crust recipe.
Yeah, that's a delicious one. And it's not that many carbs. I mean, I think I had 4 pieces of the pizza and it's like, I can't remember, it's like 5 carbs. It's not that bad. I actually am gonna be creative though. I've got a carnivore sauce that I'm gonna make. Someone, I don't know, someone had mentioned to me, actually my friend Dan, he does sauces, and then I got to looking at him like, that's carnivore with the ingredients. So one of these days I'm going to make it and then introduce it to everybody. It's out there. It's just people don't realize it's carnivore. I mean,
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
see it as carnivore. But I think I'm
Because it's
going to do,
labeled as keto.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just
Is
gonna,
that
I
like a
think I'm gonna,
barbecue sauce?
what's that?
Is that like a barbecue sauce?
No, no, it's more like a sauce you can put on eggs. I think you could put it on steak. I'll
Okay.
probably do that, but you can put it on salmon too.
Ooh.
But I think you'll see it. I'll have to do the video on it, and then or maybe after this, I'll tell you what it is. So, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna make a video on it, and I want to get it out there because
Yeah, I look
it's one
forward
of
to
those things.
that.
I think people would like a sauce being carnivore because a lot of times people don't have sauces. Now, that's my one cheat. If I do once in a while, we'll use a sauce or a spice on
Hmm.
my meat. And I'm okay with that. It's my journey and my, my plan. So,
Yeah, I use some clean spices too. Make sure I always take a look at what's in whatever spice I'm using. But that's one of the ways that, I mean, if yeah, I know it's not completely carnivore. I mean, that there's different levels of carnivore. I guess it'd be called a little dirtier carnivore. But if it's going to keep me on the plan,
yeah.
it's a whole lot better than, going off
Oh,
the
yeah,
plan.
definitely. For sure.
All right, Lucia, our first sale.
There you go. Yeah, I like that idea. That's a
Yeah.
Watch my channel because now I have a
store.
t-shirts that I'm making,
Nice.
and they show up at the bottom of every one of my videos. You can click on them and go there, but don't buy till this weekend because I need to fix the prices on some of them. That, to me, they're too expensive right now, so I'm gonna lower the price a little bit. And yeah, I will make that shirt, Lucia, because I
Yeah.
like that. That's funny.
Yeah, I like that too. That's awesome. So for sure. If any of the viewers have any more questions, now is your time to get them in. We're going to be wrapping up here pretty quick. I was just going to say, maybe you could go ahead and tell us what you got going on, shows or any planning coming up for your channel that you want to talk about or mention.
Well, I do updates twice a week. If you're not familiar with my channel, I do an update in the middle of the week, and I do an update on Saturday when I do my weighing and things, and try to talk just a little bit about different topics, maybe, and I show what I've been eating, and if I have a recipe, I'll share a recipe or anything else that I have going on. So I do that twice a week, and then hopefully we're going to be having some videos coming up talking about the possibilities of how we're going to graze our cattle, what's our plan for the rotational grazing, that kind of thing. And then, of course, about our side business whenever we get that fully decided on. So,
Yes.
yep. So that's what'll be going on coming up.
That's pretty exciting. That's awesome. I think you guys got a lot of cool things going on and stuff for sure. But I was just going to mention a couple things I got going on. I've got a low carb football party tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Me and Brian from Whitco's Carnivore. What basically we tell people to tune into the football game that's on, the NFL game tomorrow night, and then join the live stream. Tomorrow night we're going to have some, I think I just seen an email from him that we're going to have, I think he's got at least 2 guests lined up. They're going to talk about their weight loss success story. So that we'll bring some of that. So we'll talk a little football, a little bit of weight loss success. You know, we take questions and stuff too. And let's see here. This week I did an interview with Low Carb Carnivore. He's kind of got a new YouTube channel, and his name's Chuck. I just put that out here a couple days ago, and I don't know. I like to promote other channels and what they're doing, especially if somebody's new, to give them a little boost. So you might want to check him out. That's at Low Carb Carnivore. I've got that video out. Other than that, I got some more interviews coming next week, and more. It seems like I do more videos all the time now, almost every day. I think I wouldn't be surprised if I sneak one out tomorrow too. Talking about the sugar and flour that I ran into the other day. Actually,
I would like to see that picture.
Yeah, it looks like there's maybe another question here. Let's see here. Hey, that's okay. We appreciate that you came in. That's a great thing. Early on, we had some technical difficulties in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the program. So, you know, if you go back and rewatch it, just skip the first part. So, for sure. Any other questions out there? We appreciate you guys all coming in tonight, for sure. And if you could hit the like button and hit the subscribe to both our pages, we would love it. I'm guessing we'll probably do another interview down the road if you guys are okay with that. I enjoyed both of you and what you had to say, and your channel's amazing. I watch it every week. So
good.
Sometimes I'm a little behind from when it comes out, but I do watch them. So there's just so many different ones to watch, but I really enjoy your channel. So keep up the great work.
Well, thanks,
thank you
Greg,
so much.
and thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
we really enjoyed it.
Once again, I just want to thank all the viewers for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you and are glad you're here. And thanks again. And we'll, I guess we'll wrap it up. Anything else? Any parting words you guys have for anybody?
No. Just thank you again.
No, yeah, thanks. Thanks.
All right,
It was good to see everyone who tuned in.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Take care. Bye, everyone.